Today we will be solving two-step equations. I am going to start off with some one-step equations just to kind of get you used to what we're doing, but you have already solved one-step equations a whole lot this year that we've just already factored into other lessons. Today's objective is that students will be able to solve one- and two-step equations using algebraic expressions as well as solve them from word problems. So our first example, w divided by 4 equals 4. So that looks a little bit funny the way I typed that out. However, that is w over 4 equals 4. So remember, we're trying to isolate our variable on one side of the equation. So this w over that fraction bar means to divide. So we're going to do the opposite in order to get that that w by itself. So the opposite of dividing by 4 would be to multiply by 4. Those will cancel each other out. However, if we multiply that side of the equation by 4, then we have to multiply the other side of the equation by 4. So that leaves us with w equals, and 4 times 4 is 16. Now I'm aware that a lot of you could do that part in your head. However, it's important that you're following these steps and know why we're making these computations, because that will not be as easy to do in your head whenever we are looking at two-step equations here in a minute. Okay, q plus 8 equals 60. Now guys, once again, I'm completely aware that you guys can figure out what you add to 8 to get 60. But again, we're trying to isolate that q. So we have to get rid of this positive 8 or this plus 8. So we're going to minus 8. Obviously, 8 minus 8 cancels out and gives us 0. So if we subtracted 8 on the left side of this equation, we have to subtract 8 from the right side. So 60 minus 8 is 52, which means q equals 52. Okay, go ahead and pause your video and try to complete these two one-step equations. So we're trying to get the z by itself. So remember, anytime you have a number and a variable right beside of each other like this, that there's an imaginary multiplication in there. Sometimes it'll be a dot, sometimes it may be the multiplication symbol. But the opposite of multiplying would be to divide by 8. 8 divided by 8 gives us 1, and we don't put a 1 in front of the z, so therefore those cancel out. So if we divided by 8 on the right side of our equation, we're going to divide by 8 on the left side. So 32 divided by 8 gives us 4. In number 4, we're trying to get the w by itself, so that means we've got to get rid of this plus 13. So we're going to minus 13. Those cancel. However, we have to minus 13 from the other side of our equation. So 7 minus 3 is 4, and 6 minus 1 is 5. So we get w equals 54. Okay, now we're going to look at some two-step equations. So one-step equations are called one-step equations because they only have one operation in there. And two-step equations is called two-step equations because there's two operations. So in this one, we've got 2s plus 1 equals 5. So that is the same as 2 times s plus 1 equals 5. Now normally, when we solve a problem like 2 times s plus 1, we have to use our order of operations, which you guys refer to as PEMDAS. So when we're working backwards in a two-step equation, we're working backwards through PEMDAS. So that means we take care of things that have been added and subtracted before we get to multiplying and dividing. So that means since we're working backwards, we're going to take care of adding and subtracting first. So we were adding 1, so that means we're going to subtract 1 first. Those cancel, and we're going to subtract 1 from 5. 5 minus 1 is 4, but we're still left with 2s. So at this point, we have simplified our two-step equation into a one-step equation. So remember that that means 2 times s, so the opposite of multiplying would be to divide. We're going to divide by 2 because those will cancel. And if we divide by 2 on the left side, we're going to divide by 2 on the right side, which leaves us with s equals, and 4 divided by 2 is 2. Okay, in number 8, again, you're still working backwards through PEMDAS. So you're always taking care of everything that's not, you don't want to do anything with this number here that's with the variable until the very end. So we're going to take care of this 4 first. So the opposite of 4 is to minus 4. Those cancel. We have to minus 4 from the other side of the equation. 8 minus 4 gives us 4 equals 2k. So remember that 2k means 2 times k, so we're going to divide by 2. So those cancel. We're going to divide by 2 on this side of our equation. So 4 divided by 2 gives us 2. And you can write that as k equals 2. Okay, this is z over 4 minus 1 equals 2. So go ahead and try examples 7 and 8. So we're going to take care of this 1 first since we're working backwards through our order of operations. So we're going to add 1 and add 1 to this side of our equation, leaving us with 3 equals z over 4. So that means z divided by 4. So we're going to cancel that divide by 4 by multiplying by 4 because that's the opposite. So we're going to multiply this side by 4 as well. So that leaves us with z equals, and 3 times 4 is 12. In number 8, again, we're working backwards through PEMDAS, so we're going to take care of our addition and subtraction first. So we're going to minus 1 and minus 1. That leaves us with 18 equals 3j. Remember that 3j means 3 times j, so the opposite of multiplying by 3 would be to divide by 3. Those cancel. And we'll divide by 3 on this side of our equation. 18 divided by 3 is 6, and then we'll bring down our variable j. Okay, go ahead and pause your video and try examples 9 and 10. Okay, so we're going to start with this plus 8. We're going to need to minus 8. And if we subtract 8 on that side of our equal sign, we've got to subtract 8 on this side. So 8 from 14 is 6 equals, and that is t over 4, or t divided by 4. So now to get the t by itself, instead of dividing by 4, we have to do the opposite, which is to multiply by 4. Those cancel each other. So we're going to multiply by 4 on this side of our equation, leaving us with t equals, and 6 times 4 is 24. In number 10, we're going to have to distribute our 4. So that is going to be 4 times v. I'm going to bring down my minus sign. And 4 times 75 equals 96. So 4 times v is 4v. And then 4 times 75, you can go out to the side and multiply. 4 times 5 is 20. 4 times 7 is 28. Plus 2 is 30. So we get 300 equals 96. So now we've set up our two-step equation by distributing that 4. So to get 4v by itself, we're going to add 300. Again, we're doing the backwards process of PEMDAS. And then we're going to add 300 to 96, which gives us 396 equals 4v. Remember that 4v is meaning 4 times v. So we're going to divide by 4 and divide by 4. So that leaves us with v equals, and we need to divide 396 divided by 4. 4 times 9 is 36 with 3 left over. 4 into 36. So then 4 into 36 is 9, which gives us 36 again with a remainder of 0. So v equals 99. Okay, pause your video and do 11 and 12. So you will need to distribute number 11 in order to set up your two-step equation. And then in number 12, this is x over 7 minus negative 25 equals 29. So go ahead and pause your video and try those two. So we're going to distribute the 8. So that's going to leave us with 48 equals 8 times b plus 8 times 2. So 48 equals 8 times b is 8b, and 8 times 2 is 16. So now you've set up your two-step equation, so we're going backwards through the order of operations. So we're going to subtract 16. What we do to one side of our equation, we have to do to the other side. 8 minus 6 is 2, and 4 minus 1 is 3, equals 8b. Remember that 8b means 8 times b. So the opposite of multiplying by 8 would be to divide by 8. Those will cancel. So we're going to divide 32 by 8. 32 divided by 8 is 4, which is equal to b. Okay, and number 12, you should have recognized here that we had SOX. So we're going to set that up as x over 7 plus 25 equals 29. Again, since we're working backwards through this equation, then that means we do our order of operations backwards, which means we're going to first get rid of our addition or subtraction. So the opposite of plus 25 is minus 25. 9 minus 5 is 4 equals, and then we've still got our x over 7. Remember that x over 7 means x divided by 7. So the opposite of dividing by 7 would be to multiply by 7. Those cancel each other. So if we multiply by 7 on this side of our equation, we have to multiply by 7 on this side, which leaves us with x equals, and 4 times 7 is 28. So x equals 28. Okay, and number 13, that looks kind of funny there, but that is h minus 71 divided by negative 9 equals negative 2. And then, of course, in number 14, you're going to, well, I'm not going to tell you what you need to do. Anyway, you're going to set up that two-step equation to solve. I will help you in number 13 because you've not saw one like this so far. So we've got h minus 71 divided by negative 9. So since that h minus 71 is both in the numerator, we can't take care of that first. So we're going to have to first do away with that division. Okay, so we're dividing by negative 9, so the opposite of that would be to multiply by negative 9. Those will cancel each other out. So we've got to multiply this side by negative 9. So then that only leaves what's in the numerator there. So h minus 71 equals, and negative 2 times negative 9 is positive 18. Now we can go back and get rid of that 71. So if it was minus 71, we're going to add 71. Those will cancel. And we'll add 71 to 18, which gives us 89. So h equals 89. Okay, if you haven't paused your video and done number 14 yet, go ahead and do that. Make sure that you look over 13 though. We will have some more problems like that. In number 14, you need to distribute the 6. So that is 6 times y. Bring down your minus sign. 6 times 84 equals 24. 6 times y is 6y minus 6 times 84. 6 times 4 is 24. 6 times 8 is 48, plus 2 is 50. So minus 504 equals 24. So again, we're working backwards through PEMDAS. So instead of minus 504, the opposite of that would be to add 504, which cancels each other out. But if we added 504 on the left side, then we have to add 504 on this right side, which gives us 528 equals 6y. So to isolate our variable, we're going to divide by 6. Those will cancel. If we divide it by 6 on that side, we're going to divide by 6 on this side. So we have 528 divided by 6. 6 times 8 is 48. 52 minus 48 is 4. Bring down our 8. 6 goes into 48 8 times. 6 eighths is 48. So we get y equals 88. Okay, looking at this in a word problem this time, it says this equation shows how the total cost of visiting the History Museum as a member is related to the number of visits. C equals V plus 13. The variable V represents the number of visits to the History Museum, and the variable C represents the total cost of those visits. What is the maximum number of visits a member of the History Museum can make for a total cost of $19? Pause your video and complete this problem. So we're wanting to know what the maximum number of visits is for a total cost of $19. So it tells us that C is representing our total cost, which we're saying would be $19. So in that case, we're going to put 19 in place of C. So 19 equals V plus 13. We can assume that 13 was probably a membership fee. So we would minus 13, which leaves us 6. So the maximum number of visits for a total cost of $19 would be 6 visits. Okay, for your exit slip, I want you to pause and do this one. That is y minus 858 over 12 equals 11. Okay, this is one of those where you can't deal with that negative 858 first because it's in the middle of that fraction there. So we're going to have to get rid of this divide by 12 by multiplying by 12. If we multiply by 12 on that side, we have to multiply by 12 on this side. So we have y minus 858 equals, and 11 times 12 was 132. So we're going to need to add 858 in order to isolate our variable y. 8 and 2 is 10. 5, 3, and 1 make 9. And 8 and 1 make 9. So y equals 990. That completes today's assignment. Be sure and go back and click on the link to take your assessment. Have a good one, guys.